Oh man. Okay, I'm pretty sure we're starting here. I don't know. Didn't schedule this at all whatsoever. I know Danny right now is doing a stream of his own, so I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of people in here, but hey, you guys like that thumbnail? I just put it together. Okay, so like I've been doing this. The idea here is that I've been doing this. I've been doing this series on my channel that I want to kind of continue, and I thought, heck, you know what? I'll open the question out to everyone who likes my content, who wants to see more of it. So I was wondering if you guys would help me, or maybe you want to kind of be a part of this conversation, maybe some videos that MJ and I or all other people can actually do in the future, which is basically a series like fights that we should have seen in Dragon Ball Super. And I'm not talking about like power scaling or anything else like that. Not, oh, who would win in a fight between this and that. If you want that stuff, you go to Seth, you go to MJ, he does those things. Basically, I'm going to be doing narrative fights, like what fight throughout the entire series would have helped the entirety of the series progress, like given us something to see from all the characters and to show where the story was going and give us some legitimate character moments, all that type of stuff, you know. So that's really what the series is about. That's what this stream is about, hopefully, but I'll answer any other questions really. So if you guys have any fights that you would like me to talk about sometime in the future, or maybe just even on here, just share your thoughts and opinions, and I'm gonna you know, not be on here for a very long time. It's pretty late. I'm kind of tired, but I still would like to, you know, interact with you guys and just have some fun. So let's see. Android 17 and 18 from present in Dragon Ball Z versus Piccolo, Kami, Fuse the future. See, that, like I said, that's not exactly what I'm talking about. Like I'm not a power scaler. You can ask that to MJ or other people on Twitter. Maybe he'll do a video on it because it's actually a pretty good video. It's just no, I like something that actually happened in Super, characters who are actually in Super, and how them fighting each other would have affected the greater scope of the series. That's really what this is. So if you guys haven't seen those videos, like I did, MJ and I did recently, like Goten or 17 versus Hit, that's a fight that should have happened. Majin Buu versus Frieza is a fight that should have happened. Adult Gohan versus Cell. See, like, but Cell wasn't in the show, you know what I mean? So he's not someone who would he's not someone who, unless there's a good narrative reason. I mean, if you can tell me like a good narrative reason why you think that I should like that would have happened. Boo versus Botamo. Oh, Botamo. Boo versus anyone. They'd like literally did him so dirty in this series, guys. Like I wish that Boo had gotten more fights every time. Naturally Gohan versus Topo, but we discussed that already. Yeah, like MJ and I discussed that over on his channel. You can go check it out. I might take that video from him in like a week or two, because it's part of, like, this is technically part of my series, so I might take that just for like an easy upload. So don't mind if you don't see it again, or go check it out on his. Let's see. I would love to have seen Vegeta versus Hit at the Tournament of Power. Oh yeah, Vegeta versus Hit round 2 would have been awesome. I've been thinking about that. I've also talked about that before, but I think it's also an interesting, I think that's a really interesting fight that they would have shown throughout the entire series if they had done it. Let's see. All right, so let's see. Getting my channel started up. I got lots of ideas of discussions and lots of other good content. Oh, good for you, SSJ Nova. Man, like that's really good. I hope you have fun doing it. It really is pretty awesome. Boo versus Frieza is a video that we already did. If you want to hear our thoughts and opinions on what should have happened there, definitely go check that out. It was my last video I uploaded before this, so it shouldn't be too hard to find. Honestly, it's probably one of the better videos that we've done. There was a lot of fun having to be had there. So 17 versus Dispo is something that MJ's been talking about a lot, and I've definitely been thinking about doing that as well. 17, I think, was one of the better characters, and that was before everything we thought. We thought that 17 was not as awesome as he was going to be, and we all thought that Dispo was going to be kind of an easy out as well, and none of that actually ended up being the case. So I think that was something that we were all kind of shocked about, but considering the fact it would have been interesting seeing them fight, like how they might have all both realized that they were like third fiddle to like the fight, because obviously Goku and Vegeta are above both of them, so we could have gotten something that was a little bit more in line with like, oh, you're a fiddle, like the Topo versus Vegeta fight where it's like, you're a second fiddle, well, so are you. It could have been like, you're a third fiddle, it's like, yeah, but so are you. And yeah, just kind of doing that joke again. Goku Black versus Frieza would have been dope. I agree, but I'm wondering, so I am taking notes and I'm taking your names down for anyone who's asking me to do these, because I'm thinking about doing these as discussion videos later down the line, but I'm not exactly sure how that would have gone down. Like, because Frieza was dead at that time, I don't know how they would have brought back Frieza in order to help like serve the story, which is really what I'm trying to get at here. But Goten versus Roshi, again, I can't see that. Like, if there's something that I say, like, I don't see it, then try to tell me like, oh, what would have actually been really cool, like, oh, this could have happened, or it would have served the story this way, down in the comment section. I'll be like, hey, yeah, like, you're absolutely right, that would have been cool. Kefla versus Vegeta is something that we definitely really would need to see, and Kefla versus Frieza, I see other people are saying, because that's one of the things that we wanted from the very beginning, is Vegeta and or Frieza fighting somebody, So I agree that would have been one of the better things that they could have given us, if they had actually ended up giving us anything with all of Dragon Ball Super. So I agree with you guys. Like, Frieza, I wish fought more Saiyans than just Kappa. That was one of the craziest things that they didn't give us. You would imagine that he would have taken all of his aggression out on the entire Saiyan force, or Saiyan people during the Tournament Power, but he kind of just kept to his own, didn't he? That's something that I thought was really weird. Grand Priest versus Whis, or another Angel. I agree we could have seen Angels fight, but I don't know if it would have actually. I don't know what that actually would have happened. Could they even fight each other, because they all have Ultra Instinct apparently? If that's kind of one of the things that we knew about them, is they all have Ultra Instinct, and could they even hit each other? I bet they could, but that would have been epic. Both you and Geekdom are streaming. My God, how to choose. Man, if you want to go to Danny's stream, that's totally fine. I'm going to try to get to as many comments as I can, as quickly as I can. Sometimes I get super behind, and I don't want to get super behind. Of course, as far as all this goes, I think that it would be really fun to talk about this stuff. But like I said, I don't like to approach these conversations or these topics without thinking about it first. So what I'm doing right now, is if you share like a thought idea that you have, like, oh man, this person should have fight versus this person, and I'm like, hey, you know what? I've never thought about that. And I'm taking notes on it right now, and I'm taking notes, and I'm taking your name down, and I'll do a video after I get a little bit of time to think about, like, okay, where would it have been throughout the entire series? How would it have affected these characters or the characters around them? And how would that fight have really played out, or just in general? And that's what I'm actually going to do. That's what this actually is. My suggestion was for the filler episode. Adult Gohan versus Cell. Gohan asked to visit Cell to fight him again to regain his past strength again against the same opponent, like Goku versus Frieza got rehashed. Okay. Let me. I actually like that, but I have an idea for it that's kind of similar to what you're saying, but it might actually kind of go with one of the filler episodes that we got to see. You know, the whole filler episode we got with Krillin and Goku earlier down the line in Dragon Ball Super. That would have been pretty cool. I got my cat Shadow checked in with me. Future Trunks versus anyone in the universe survival arc. Yeah, well, definitely. But that changes a huge dynamic of the story. Although, yeah, just Future Trunks in general. It would have been fun to see him actually. I did a video about that if you're interested. I'm sure you probably already saw it at some point. But I did a video about how Future Trunks, or why Future Trunks should have been a part of the Tournament of Power. I think that they really did him badly. It would have been nice to have him, considering his whole arc kind of feels out of place as opposed to the entire show. And I would have liked him to be in this arc just to kind of give the last arc a lot more relevance. Like, oh, Trunks is here, and just as before he's about to go back or something, you have Grand Priest or Zeno come in. They're like, hey, how about this? And like, how about this tournament thing? And then they're like, oh man, like we just have to pretend that this guy is in our timeline, but he can help us fight, so it's all good. But a lot of people say that might be a little too many Saiyans for the Tournament of Power. But I mean, it was always going to be Saiyan driven, so does that really matter? The only person they probably would have gotten rid of is Ten Shinhan, which she didn't really do a whole lot anyway. And you open up the possibilities for so many other interactions, especially for Frieza, like looking at Trunks and be like, oh, there's that guy. Like, I was going to get to him, and they talk like that guy who really took me out, not Goku, and I'm going to get my revenge on him. Where have you been? It's like, I'm a time traveler. What? Nani? Like, that would have been really freaking awesome in my opinion. Otherwise, I wanted to see Hit versus Frieza. Oh, Hit versus Frieza, something that we definitely needed to see, man. They did us so dirty by not giving us Hit versus Frieza, because I think that those two people are huge standouts for the overall Hit versus Goldo battle of Time Skip versus Time Stopper. No, that wouldn't have happened because Hit would just destroy him. Yes, that video was awesome. Goldo, Aniraza versus Jiren. Oh yeah, that is something that definitely needed to happen. So yeah, you know why Aniraza needed to happen, not Jiren? I did a video kind of about this, but it wasn't in the same vein as this series. I would like to do this. I would really like to revisit this as a narrative structure. But you know why we needed Jiren versus Aniraza? It's because Jiren needed something to stand up to. And honestly, if you go back and look at what Aniraza was throughout that entire fight, he was essentially all of the movie villains with all of their advancements. He was, giant like Hirudegarde, right? He had wings like Hirudegarde. He had the portal thing like Janemba did. And he had, there's a lot more there. One person creating a lot of different things. It was just a culmination of basically everything that all the movie villains were, or at least the most popular of them are. And it would have been nice to have Jiren, the current big bad of the Tournament of Power, actually have to go up against this thing that's a culmination of all the big bads that we had seen throughout all the movies. Someone who could step to Jiren, or the first person in the tournament who makes Jiren actually try, and he wasn't really anticipating it, but he's gotten his interest back from watching Goku and everyone else fight, so he's back in the game. Then this guy comes out of nowhere and he's like, oh man, I have to step in, and Goku and everyone else is exhausted. They can't push him back, or they're about to get completely slapped in the face, and then Jiren just jumps in and starts fighting Aniraza, but Aniraza starts pushing Jiren back, and you're like, oh my gosh, like, is this guy going to be able to take out Jiren? But then no, Jiren shows a hint of his full power, and that's the first time we actually get to see him have his like glowy big hard punches, or even something a little bit more than that. And by the time that all kind of the dust settles, Jiren's won, and everyone's like, oh man, this guy's a monster, and he's taken out a whole other universe as a universe 3 out of the necessity to do so. Would have been awesome. I don't know why they didn't go that direction, considering it would have allowed us a little bit more time with Hit or Jiren, and it might have even allowed us some time to actually show who Jiren was or tell everyone who Jiren was at that point, instead of 4 episodes before the end of the series or 5 episodes before the end of the series. It would have been nice to know who Jiren was and what he was fighting for when Goku, 17, and Vegeta went after him for the first time, and not after everything that happened before that. But that's just my opinion. I mean, especially at that point, you would still have Dispo and Topo on the stand, and maybe one of them, probably even instead of Belmont, maybe even Topo talking about it, because he always said that Jiren was his dear friend, but they didn't really show much friendship, honestly. It really seems like Belmont was way more of a friend to Jiren than Topo was to Jiren. Maybe that's just me, the way I'm perceiving it, but that's always how I kind of looked at it, honestly. Let's see. Hit versus Topo is something that I always wanted to see as well, just because we didn't really know how strong Topo was when he came in. I mean, we knew he was blue level, so we knew that he was at least on Hit's level, so that was something we thought we would see. I did a video like this, and it's kind of part of the same series, or at least in the same vein, before the Tournament of Power even began. And because Hit was so OP going into the Tournament of Power, I really wanted him to go up against Hit like he did in the tournament, and then interrupt the fight. Jiren versus Hit. Hit's improving. Jiren doesn't realize how fast Hit's improving, but he's eventually getting on Jiren's nerves and actually starting to hurt Jiren. And then Topo just steps in and like sucker punches Hit to allow Jiren to stop him. That would have actually been pretty cool. Maybe then like you get to see this emotional distance, or at least a disconnection from like what they want from the Tournament of Power, or what they're looking for between Jiren and Topo. In that one fight, Jiren wants a really big, really awesome fight. Topo just wants survival. He wants to be the fittest in the room. So he's just like, hey, I'm gonna help you because we're teammates and I should help you. And Jiren's just like, I want a good fight, and he goes after Topo for that, or at least he gets really mad at him for it. That would have been the way I did it if I had to do it. I like the way they did it, but it's weird that we didn't get to see Topo fight very many people in the Tournament of Power, if you ask me. I would have preferred him actually end up fighting more people during the Tournament of Power, because he was more interesting than anyone else, honestly. At least in terms of Universe 11. Yamcha versus Jiren. No, that wouldn't have served the plot at all. Krillin versus Kato Pesaya. I don't remember who that is, but I'll write him down just because I don't know. Krillin. I think Krillin was in the Tournament of Power for about the right amount of time. Honestly, I don't think Krillin deserved a whole lot of love going into this tournament, but I could be wrong. I mean, feel free to disagree with me, but I felt like everyone else deserved a little bit more than what Krillin got, and he still got a decent amount of shine. So I don't know who that guy is off the top of my head. Everyone versus Jiren. Everyone did deserve to fight Jiren. But yeah. Hit versus Frieza. We already got that one down. Future Trunks versus Dispo. Yeah, I already talked about that and how I would like to see Future Trunks actually fight people throughout this entire tournament. I wish that he had actually been a part of this, but that's just me. I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure, actually. This is just might be my opinion, but I'm not sure. Oh wow, I got really far behind. This always happens. I try so hard. Boo versus Ribrianne. Oh yeah, the battle of the fatties. Dude just stole 2 of my ideas. LOL. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is lit. Toonami has JoJo. Kid Trunks versus Kaba. Future Trunks versus versus Gohan. 18 versus Kale. No, I just Kid Trunks versus Kaba. When would that have happened? Like, see, my thing here is, like I keep saying, is like I have to be able to see like why it would be possible and what each character would gain from certain fights. So Kid Trunks versus Kaba, Future Trunks versus Gohan, 18 versus Kale, Hit versus Gohan would have been actually pretty cool. I'd have to say. Hit versus Gohan, basically Hit versus anyone, right? Anyone versus Hit, Topo, Frieza, or most anyone else. More people versus Black would have been cool in my opinion too. So, and if I am taking these down, if you guys don't mind, like, I'm taking it down, but I'm also taking your names down as well. So I'm going to credit you in the video if I ever do this video with anyone or just by myself, because I thought maybe you guys, it's a series I want to do, and I have a list. I have a list for myself that I've been working off of, and there's just so many different possibilities of everyone out there who could have helped, or who could have actually fought each other throughout this entire show. And now that it's ending, we're like never gonna get those fights outside of like a video game. That we just kind of put everything together and like have Hit versus Gohan or Future Trunks or any of these other people, and we don't get the full extent of the character moments or the story being told. And I don't know about you guys, like I know you guys like the story, I know you guys like the fights, I know you guys like to know, like, or most people like to know, okay, who's more powerful? Is this person more powerful or is this person more powerful? But me is like, how is that going to drive the story forward? How is this going to be a part of the grander scope of everything going on in the story? And how is this going to affect the characters? How is all this going to kind of build up the next arc and all these other things that they could have done? It would have been pretty awesome, actually. Let's see, Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta when he was like my Bulma versus Super Buu from Dragon Ball Z. Not exactly what I'm doing. Buu versus Ribrianne would have been pretty cool. I still think that Buu should have been in the tournament. I guess the reason that Buu wasn't in the tournament is because they didn't want Universe 7 to be super dominating over everyone. But why would they even have that? I mean, like, it was their choice to make everyone else so weak that Universe 7 was able to dominate them anyway. I don't understand why they decided to have all these universes so weak and not being able to actually go up against Goku, Vegeta, or Gohan, or Piccolo, or most every other person in the entire tournament. It's something that kind of boggles my mind. They could have easily used the exact same character designs and made them that much stronger to actually give them more of a hard time, so Universe 7 didn't destroy everyone in the entire tournament and lead everyone into a and lead the entire tournament the entire time with most eliminations, with individual people by a long shot, and also most eliminations for universes. I mean, they've taken out every single universes, and if Goku wins, Universe 7 will have taken out every single universe, or be the catalyst for every single universe that got taken out during this entire thing. And to me, it just completely defeats the purpose of a battle royale. It never needed to be a battle royale in that case, and it would have actually served the story better if they decided to have it just a normal tournament, because then at least we would have been able to see the extent of what Jiren brought to the table. And he could have come in and he'd be like, hey, I'm going to completely take out this entire team or this entire universe. So he like walks in and he takes out universe 4 immediately, because who cares about universe 4? Takes it out, boom, it's gone. Everyone's like, what? No, that was way too fast. Like, they didn't even have a fight. But this guy is just like, I'm done. And he's like, it's over. And everyone just blows up or something like that. And you're like, oh man, like, this guy's a monster. And then you're kind of building up anticipation, like, oh man, what's happening. And then, as I've said before, it'd be really cool to have someone like Goku and Universe 7 fight in one match against one universe. Say they went up against Universe 3, right? And they fought on or Universe 2, right? Because Universe 2 has okay, universe. I keep changing the universe because I want it to make sense for the story, something to actually build up versus something that we actually saw. So they go up against Universe 9 because they have something to gain against Universe 9, and obviously the Trio of Danger has sworn vengeance against them. So they're like, oh, we're going to go up against Goku and blah, blah, blah. So they're talking trash, and all 10 of the warriors go down. But Goku's like, oh, like these guys are awesome. I want to go down. But they're, for whatever reason, they don't have to take all 10. They can take a number. So Goku's like, hey, like, I'm going to go down, and Gohan, why don't you come with me? Like, you fought these guys before, you know what to expect. And then someone like Frieza, I don't know. And they go down there, they fight, but Universe 9 is more formidable than they were in the Tournament of Power, so they end up actually hurting people. Maybe they poison Frieza, and you're like, oh man, like what's gonna happen? Like Frieza's poison and all this other stuff, but Goku and Gohan like completely take the win. It's close, but it wasn't as close. It's closer than it was in the Tournament of Power, but it wasn't all that close. But it was such an awesome fight, and the Trio of Danger did so awesome, and Goku and Gohan and Frieza did so awesome that the Zenos are like, again, and they break their own rules, and they're like, Universe 7 has to fight again. I really like Goku. He's always so awesome. And then everyone's like, what? And he's like, yeah, screw the rules, whatever. So they throw Universe 3 out there, and Universe 3, with all of their technology and stuff, starts beating up on Gohan, Goku, and Frieza, who are forced to be the only ones who stay there. So it's like really the odds are against them, and Aniraza shows up, and they have to figure out a way to beat them, and everyone in Universe 7 is coaching them throughout this, but it really raises the stakes that way without really building without actually making it so that everyone in Universe 7 could help or is that much stronger than everyone else because they're exhausted. They have to keep fighting. So in that sense, it's kind of like a battle royale, but at the same time, it's something a little bit different and something that I think people would have gravitated towards. That would have been awesome. And yes, if you are perceptive enough, I did steal that from the Dark Tournament. They do the exact same thing in the Dark Tournament, and it works gangbusters. It's an amazing emotional arc for that tournament, and I think, at least in my opinion, Dragon Ball Super really missed out with this tournament if by not making it a regular tournament, a team-based regular tournament, actually. I'm gonna skip some of this stuff. I think they should have had stronger characters from other universes. That way they could use them against Universe 7 members and give them spotlight, because some of the opponents were fodder. Yes, they were. Super fodder. Gohan versus Hit. We already got that down from people, but because at least Gohan would have been talking, because at least Gohan would have been taken out by the stronger of Universe 6 and putting a good fight while having Hit eliminate a big threat from Universe 7 and not just purely fodder. That is a really, really good point, actually. Goku Black versus Whis, but Whis would have stomped Goku Black. Like, that would have, if Goku Black can step to Whis, that would have really messed up the power scaling. Boo versus Bread. Boo would destroy Bread. Gohan and Piccolo versus Resurrection F Golden Frieza. But they would have gotten destroyed, though. They did get destroyed. Not even by Golden, like by just regular Frieza. Majin Buu versus Jiren. I don't really see what we get there. Kiss my ass, real to real. Okay. Wonder Bread. Is it because you're bread? Is that why you'd say that? I'll move that. Let's see. I wanted to see more Bergamo. Thought his character was interesting and way better than Fodder Universe 3 characters. Universe 3 was pretty cool, though. Honestly, I really enjoyed it. I already did Hit versus 17. Go check that out. That was actually pretty awesome. Hit versus Boo. I'm not sure. Hit versus Boo. maybe in the first tournament that would have actually been cool. I really hate that they took Boo out of the first tournament and they didn't allow him to fight, because it would have actually made the tournament a little bit better. Again, it was one of those situations that Goku and Vegeta were so powerful that they had to willfully make the team weaker, and that's they had to make the team weaker, and I think that that's one of the things that really kind of makes me mad throughout the entirety of the series. Tenshinhan and Krillin versus Frost. So you know what I mean, guys? Like, so Universe 7 in both tournaments in the Dragon Ball Super timeline, they had to do these plot conveniences that made that team weaker than it actually could have been, both times by taking out Boo, and then the other times you had to they had to bring in other people instead of more logically people who would have been better at strategy. So they brought in Tenshinhan, who was by all accounts like a weak character, and Krillin not so much. I mean, Krillin did show his worth so many times over in this series and throughout all the entire series, really, but they could have brought in other people or figured out another way to bring other people. They could have gotten Trunks. They could have gotten Cell. That would have been pretty awesome too. There's so many different possibilities. I mean, I know Frieza was an interesting case because Frieza was so evil he couldn't pass on, so that's why he was technically in hell, but they could have figured out a way to bring in other people who might have been stronger. They even said that Universe 7 should have had a Vegeta race, although that could have been destroyed by Majin Buu. We're not really sure, but they could have gone and gotten one of those Vegeta people because they were obviously really awesome and able to take a lot of damage. Would have been an interesting character for Universe 7 to have. Definitely a tank. I would have appreciated it. But I mean, that's just me. Excuse me. I still take handwritten notes for so many things, guys. It's crazy. It's just law school has done this to me. I like taking handwritten notes, honestly. Frost versus Frieza. Yeah, Frost versus Frieza is something that really should have happened as well. I really wanted it to happen, and it kind of did. I mean, they definitely did go up against each other really quickly, but it didn't really go anywhere from anything. From the start of the series, I really wanted to see Goku and Vegeta go on and fight other gods of destruction. Giant Piccolo versus Giant Bergamo from Monster Fight. Yes. Yes. That's something that I've talked about, actually. I believe in back in the day, like Dimsy and I did something like this where we had a discussion that Giant Piccolo should come back, especially in the tournament, because that was when we first got to see it, and it would have been awesome because in the preliminary matches we got to see Giant Bergamo, so it was like, oh man, are they going to do that? Are they going to give us like a giant kaiju fight that we've all been wanting since Dragon Ball Z? I mean, there's not one person from Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z that can't tell me they didn't want giant Namekians versus a Nazaru. So we get like a kaiju fight. That would have been awesome. But they never gave that to us, and they really should have. This arc was rushed and focused on shit characters like Ribrianne. I don't think she's a shit character, though. I think she's a pretty good character when you look at it from a lot of different perspectives. I think that I just think I think a lot of people didn't like her because she was so focused on so many different other things. Like, oh, I'm focused on love and respect or whatever it was. And then she's one of the people who we keep going back to. And it's like, okay, she's a little annoying. Like, she's this real Sailor Moon type character, which doesn't fit the tone of Dragon Ball, at least the tone that the fans want. And you don't, like, I think a lot of people don't see the humor in it. So they go after her for like being an uninteresting character or a shit character, which I thought she was just kind of a joke character the entire time. Now, did they spend a little too much time on her? Yeah, they really did spend a whole lot of time on her, and that's really not very fair or fun. But I do appreciate what they tried to do with her. The only problem with Universe 2 I have is that they put a Suforian, they put a Tuffle on it. That shouldn't make any sense, at least in the logic that they built up throughout the series, and they never even tried to say anything about it or do anything about it. And it's like, why? Why did you do that? Especially when you knew you were ending the series. I don't understand it, and I still do not understand it to this day. Number 17 versus Resurrection F Golden Frieza. He wasn't there. Shotgun wins. Resurrection Golden is more stronger than current Gohan. Jiren versus Farmer with the shotgun. Shotgun wins. Topo, how about you catch these hands? Piccolo versus Hit. Piccolo versus Hit, huh? Yeah. Dude, like anything with Hit, I am like super down for. I think he could have definitely like, and you have to kind of look past the fact that Hit probably would have won most of these fights that are being suggested, but it's an interesting dynamic. Like, I wish that it would have had a more interesting appeal, or they used him in a better way. Like, I can't remember who said it, but someone said up in the comments before this, said that, oh, it would have been interesting to have someone like Gohan or Gohan or Piccolo or someone get eliminated from the Tournament of Power by Hit, because Hit didn't really do a whole lot. He didn't take out a whole lot of people, and he was just simply there to let Jiren beat him at some point. It was a good fight, but that's really all it was. And I wish too that it would have been like Gohan went up against Hit. If Gohan was going to be wasted, and I still think he was wasted, have him have a really good fight against Hit. And if you guys have played fighters, if you fight with Gohan and Hit in the same team and you let Hit win, he'll be like, oh, it's like, oh, you're Goku's son. Oh, you have potential, like he said, and I'm really pleased to have fought with you. So you have Gohan, at least narratively, from the moment of the preliminaries going into the Tournament of Power, finding his fighting strength back, finding his potential and everything like that, and actually going up against Hit. And Hit maybe at this point has gone up against Vegeta. They didn't eliminate each other, but Vegeta gave him a hard time, has increased him, or made him have his own advancements, and then probably gone up against Jiren, but Jiren hasn't taken him out because Jiren doesn't take anyone out, so it's just kind of the same thing, and Hit's getting better and better and better, and you're thinking, man, like, are they pushing this guy? Is he going to go to the last three? Is he going to be him, Goku, and Jiren? Are they going to go out next to each other? And then Gohan ends up beating him, or Hit ends up beating him, where Gohan comes in and fights Jiren, shows his real true potential as a fighter, and he actually pushes Jiren back, or Gohan goes up against Hit, shows his true potential, and pushes Hit back, even though Hit throughout the entire Tournament of Power has been pushing himself over and over and over again, and he's like, oh my gosh. And man, I'm tired, guys. Hit's like, oh my gosh, like, this kid has real potential, and he keeps pushing me back if I don't do something now. And he uses the time stop punch on him, and he's able to eliminate Gohan that way. But because he does that, Jiren gets to see it, and Jiren takes notice, because Jiren had an idea that he wanted to take out Hit. It was one of the reasons he was there. He even says it. So he's like, the next time he sees it, he figures out a way to beat it, and that's why Jiren is able to just basically walk through time with his pure strength, break time in that regard, because he's seen it before, and this isn't something where it's like, oh man, Hit has these grab bag of abilities, and then Jiren is just way too strong to actually be beaten, and it doesn't serve the plot that way. So if any of that made sense, I hope you understand where I'm coming from. But honestly, I did get a little tongue-tied there while talking about it. It's really because it's late, but I can revisit that, honestly, what I'm saying in a greater detail. Plus, it would have been kind of cool to have Gohan and Piccolo versus Hit at some point. If you're gonna have that, have it be that way. Have Gohan show his potential and maybe even sacrifice himself for Piccolo. And that way we have Piccolo in the tournament a little bit longer, and you finally figure out a time for Dragon Ball Super to give Piccolo a little shine. That would have been epic, in my opinion, because I think they did Piccolo so dirty in this tournament and the last tournament. He didn't get nearly what he deserved, and he should have fought in someone a lot better. In fact, I probably would have had Piccolo take out Ribrianne, because Ribrianne was kind of a pill for everyone to swallow this entire time. And Piccolo has always been a strategic fighter. It would have been happy. I would have been happy with that, like him going up against that. So I am most disappointed we didn't get to witness the power of the angels, and especially the Grand Priest. I had high hopes for that, and I also expect origin stories for the angels in Zeno. I don't expect origin stories, but I agree with you. I would have liked to see the angels actually fight someone for a change, instead of just sit around and be able to stop time or rewind time or anything else that they could have done throughout the entire series. Gotta say, it was a little obnoxious this entire time to be like, why aren't they stepping in? I know obviously they probably can't, but why not? It was always something that I just didn't understand. Geekdom raid. Let's see. I'm gonna skip a couple of these. Actually, wow, I get so far behind because I go on my super rants. And then I get so far behind that I can't. Right, it's 6 a.m. Much love. Want another hour? LOL. Much love, peeps. Remember, next week Jiren reveals it reveals if his nipples. Oh my gosh. Let's see. Hit Frieza, Kefla, UI Goku, Vegeta, and 17 versus Jiren. Not very likely, but only chance against the top dog to jump him. See Jiren get super pushed would be crazy. I agree. That's one of the things that actually, like, I did a video about this a long time ago, talking about like everyone versus Jiren. Like, is Jiren really going to get pushed that hard where everyone has to go up against him, and he ends up taking out the majority of everyone left standing from Universe 6 and 7? Because that's kind of what I thought might happen, is like Universe 6 and 7 would be two of the last universes standing, along with Universe 11, and then they take out Dispo, they take out Topo, and then they come after Jiren, and Jiren's just like boom, 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 like taking out everyone all together, and we have just the heavy hitters from these universes that we had built up throughout the entire tournament go up against Jiren. He's just like, nope, bam, 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 bam. That would have been epic. But again, kind of getting out of the way of what a tournament of power actually is supposed to be, a battle royale, you know? So I don't know. There's so many ways I would have done the tournament of power differently. It's crazy. 17 versus Goku Black. Well, you can't really have it that way. Gohan versus Goku Black. I still think that like they wrote Gohan out of that for a reason, you know? 17, they wrote him out for a reason. It's like, oh, that's not the right guy, you know? So he's not the same guy that you remember, and he's definitely changed. You know, making him witness Goku Black and being like, oh, maybe I do need to change, because his dad isn't all knowing, or even always the right person to save the day, especially if he becomes the bad guy. That would have been actually pretty cool, but I'm not really sure. It would have been more interesting, in my opinion, to have Goku Black actually come into the present day and start causing havoc, because then you open up a lot of possibilities for characters, and you also bring in the idea that future Trunks is there, he's fighting for the same thing. But the problem with that, and one of the reasons they didn't do that, is because the Android Saga took place in the present timeline where Trunks came and helped fight. They wanted to shake it up, so they had them go into the future, which I think is a really good idea. But the whole back and forth that they did throughout that entire tournament, or that arc in general, just did not like it. So I wasn't really a huge fan of it. Goku Black versus Beerus. Beerus would have mopped the floor with Black. God Topo versus Beerus. Beerus versus Goku Black and Merge Zamasu would have been dope. Or Merge Zamasu would have been pretty cool, but I still think Beerus could have ended that fight pretty easily. Yes, Hit versus Black is something that I've been hoping to do for a long time now, and I can't wait to do it. Hopefully, I still think Hit versus Goku Black is something that they should have done. I did a video with MJ a long time ago about why it didn't make sense that he went after Goku's body. I know Goku had the god power in him, which he was probably drawn to because he still wanted to be a god entity, But Hit in that fight where he was looking at Goku through God Tube in both the manga and the anime was the stronger opponent. Like, he was the stronger person. Goku was not even, or Hit wasn't even really tired at all that, and Goku was just kind of broken after that fight of theirs. So I'm really not sure why he didn't go after Hit, honestly. Goku Black versus Jiren, Goku and Vegeta Beyond Blue versus Whis and Beerus. I want Cell to be brought back. So do I. I'm the only one who doesn't want Oob to be a thing. I don't know. I like Oob's character. Maybe that's just me, but I really do like Oob's character. Belmont versus Beerus. Sidra versus God of Destruction Topo to decide whose mustache is godlier. Oh my gosh. I even forgot that Sidra had a mustache. That's freaking phenomenal. Why? There's some pretty good mustaches in Dragon Ball, aren't there, guys? Like, holy crap. Holy crap. If Jiren it didn't exist and Topo was the main antagonist, it would have been cool if Hit was the one who pushed Topo into becoming a Kaioshin and show that Hit was enough for Topo to become a god. That's true. That is a really good point. There's a lot of, that's a really good point, and it would have actually served the story a little bit better. I keep saying this, and if I did it, I would actually have done it differently. I would have had Topo and Hit be one person, and Dispo to be like Dispo and the General to be his two main guys that would have helped fight. But no Jiren. Jiren is just too bland in my opinion. Topo is where it's at. So yeah, that would have been cool. Like, you have Hit making Topo a god of destruction and going after him that way, and then just completely owning Hit, completely going against time and space, and that way we're like, oh my gosh, this is the extent of a god of destruction that we started fighting at the very beginning of the show. So you have the beginning of the show being the Battle of Gods, where Goku turns into a Super Saiyan God and Beerus comes to fight him, and then we quickly learn that Beerus isn't fighting to the fullest of his power, and you always wonder, like, what's the full extent of a God of Destruction? And then we end with Topo turning into a God of Destruction and actually fighting people, and to the extent of walking past Hit's like time skip, or not beating Hit's time skip, beating his time stop ability, and even destroying Hit. And then you have Goku, which the Fakatsu no F arc kind of said, you know, one of the reasons Whis can beat Beerus is because Beerus doesn't know how to do the Ultra Instinct move. And so you set all that up for Goku to get Ultra Instinct and beat this God of Destruction entity, which is something he couldn't do at the beginning of the tournament or the beginning of the series. And that way, Goku has kind of gone over the entire path that he had to go to get to where he was at that tournament, but there are still entities stronger than him, like Whis and the other angels and the Grand Priest and Zeno and all these other people, but now he's at least able to beat Gods of Destruction. That would have been a better story, in my opinion. But I guess you could still say the same thing about what it is now, but we're still left wondering, like, just how much stronger is Beerus than Topo, and just how much stronger is Beerus versus Jiren, and it gets a little bit muddied there. I think it would have been better if you just served it, regardless of power scaling or anything else like that. Just like Beerus is a god of destruction, now Topo is a god of destruction, and Goku wasn't able to beat a god of destruction. Now he is able to beat one, and that's where we're going to end it. So you can kind of take it as you want there. Maybe the hardcore fans still debate whether or not Topo is as strong as Beerus or even stronger, but at that point it just doesn't matter, because the mantle has been overcome. This Ultra Instinct thing has been mastered, and Goku is now above all that. The journey he started at the beginning of the series has been made, and it's a great time to end it. So that was a little rant there. Sorry, I go into some rants. Super Blue Vegeta versus Hit. Already said that. Goku versus Jiren. What if instead of Frieza, Cell was brought back and had heard about Goku's strength, and since Cell beyond perfect far exceeds Frieza's full power, says that he had trained and gained new form. Uh, but why would anyone bring back bringing back Frieza made a lot of sense, because you can easily write that his force is still out there. They're still highly loyal to him, so they're going to allow him to come in and fight, or they want him to come back to help their forces grow, or at least reclaim the glory days. Cell doesn't have that anyone who would want to bring him back besides Red Ribbon enthusiasts or admirers, but Cell wasn't really a Red Ribbon thing. Yes, he came from there, but he also decided, or at least said, he was going to destroy the whole world. I can't imagine anyone being like, yeah, that guy, I want that guy to come back, And that's probably the hardest way, at least in my opinion, of writing Cell back into the series, is like, there is nobody that would want Cell back. Because he's just kind of an unsympathetic character. In fact, he's probably the least sympathetic character in the entire Dragon Ball Z portion of the series that shouldn't be brought back. There's like no redeeming qualities to him. Nobody likes him at the end of it. Like he got what he deserved. Even Goku at the end of the Buu saga was like, hey, I want you to come back. You're super strong. And he's like, I don't blame you for any of this. See you later. And he blows up Buu, but Buu was really kind of just an entity, right? Like he wasn't really in control. He didn't really have any thought process on any of this stuff, so it was easier to forgive. But Cell is smart. Like, he's Gohan, Piccolo, everybody's smart, so he knew what he's doing, and that's probably why no one likes him. How do you think he would have done it how do you think he would have done in the Tournament of Power? Cell? He probably would be out by now. He definitely would be out by now. He hadn't been training. That's the problem, honestly. Cell, Ultra Instinct, LOL. Frieza versus both Universe 6 Namekians. Huh. Would have been fun. It would have been cool, but now Frost with the Namekians teaming up against someone, that would have been cool. Super Saiyan 3 Kefla versus Champa. Frieza still alive. Frost, if he had a new form, versus Super Saiyan Blue or Golden Frieza. We talked about Frost versus Frieza. That would have been awesome. Zamasu and Goku Black versus Champa. Kefla versus Goku Black. Boss Carrot stomps Jiren. Sorry, I just missed Broly. Zeno versus Monaka. JK. Who's the prince / king of Saiyans from Universe 6? Another version of Vegeta, or is it his dad? Maybe it's one that looks like Goku. We don't know, actually. That's a good question. I'm not really sure, honestly. And I would have to say it doesn't have anything to do with Prince Vegeta, because even though it's a mirror universe, doesn't mean that things kind of worked out the same way. So it's probably not anything to do with Vegeta or his lineage or a mirror version of it. Any direct connection, unless they say otherwise, would probably be really coincidental, or just an easy way for us to gauge or evaluate the relationship of the royal bloodline from one universe to another. That's probably what that's going to be, if they end up doing it at all. But I digress. I don't know. Mastered UI versus Universe 6. Oh man, it's stomping Universe 6. Would have been cool if Broly had been brought back with Goku, kind of like Vegeta did, and trained with Whis and Beerus, gaining legendary Super Saiyan Blue. It's kind of like that movie they did for the ride, the roller coaster ride, where it was like real D, 3D, 4D, like movie theater, where they gave Broly a god transformation and had Goku fight him for everyone else in the theater. That something I kind of wanted to do, but I know I'd have to go all the way to Japan to do it, which kind of sucks. But it was something like, oh man, I wish I could do that. I really kind of like Broly as a character, and I want to kind of see what they had in mind for him, his god form. But I'm sure that they're going to bring that to Dragon Ball Heroes or Dokkan Battle or something, if they haven't already. Probably not Dokkan already, but I'm not even sure they brought it to Heroes. But it was a cool form. I mean, his god form is a really cool form. Yeah, I think I remember Frost versus Frieza, and even showed off his golden form. Yeah, yeah. I mean that, but they didn't really take it out like that. Like he easily took him out, and that wasn't really even a fight. Even though Magetta wasn't as relevant as Hit or Universe Six Saiyans or Namekians, I felt like Magetta could have been used a lot more in the tournament. I agree. I like Magetta's character a lot, and one of the things that MJ liked to say, and I absolutely love it. He liked to say that like they would bring Magetta in and have him had like headphones on or earphones, so like instead of Botama getting up on his shoulders, which was awesome by the way, but instead of that, like, and covering up his ears, he would have had headphones on to like cover up his ears so he wouldn't be able to hear insults or anyone talking to him, and then he would just tell him like, your goal here is to ransack as many people as possible and be shields to everybody on the team because you're a tank. You and Batama are tanks, and you should be able to protect your teammates and all that. So that's what I would have done if I was them, but obviously they didn't ask me. This is a wacky thing I've been thinking about, but what do you think the multiplier of Great Blue Ape would be? So it's 10, right? It's a 10 times multiplier for Ape. And then it's like 50 for Super Saiyan, and then whatever the one is for whatever the initial multiplier is for Super Saiyan God. So Super Saiyan God multiplier times 50 times 10. That's probably what it would have to be. I mean, looking at it logically, of course, I'm not really sure how it works. And there's a lot of people who would say otherwise about, oh, no, it works like this or it works like this or something, you know. So I'm not really sure. I thought Bergamo could have been more used more. I agree, too. This thumbnail is immaculate. Thanks. I put it together. I'll put it on my. I'll just throw it up on my Twitter if anyone wants to take it. I really appreciate the compliment. I liked putting it together, and I thought it was appropriate for the topic I wanted to cover here. You know, just like any fight is possible in Dragon Ball Super, and it should have been. So let's talk about and let's get ideas for future videos where I'll go into real depth about this stuff and give people credit for coming up with the fight idea, and I'll come up with, oh yeah, like this person told me to do this fight or at least think about it, and I've been thinking about it, so let's go into depth, like when would this have happened, who would have helped them, how would it affect everyone, like I've said over and over and over again. So that would have been awesome. Androids versus Universe 3 would have been pretty cool. I would have loved to see Giant Piccolo versus Aniraza. Piccolo would have been bodied, but it still would have been fun to watch. That's why people have been saying like Giant Piccolo versus Bergamo, because I think Piccolo could have still won, and it would have been an interesting fight between those two giant characters. Something that we haven't really been able to see in Dragon Ball ever. I would have actually liked to see it. Donald Trump versus Jiren. Piccolo being bodied by Aniraza is better than a bug. Mad face. Yeah, it would have been much better than a bug. They really did Piccolo dirty in all of this. Hit versus Frieza, Hit versus 17. Already did that one. You can go check it out. Do you think Goku will leave with the Angels at the end of the tournament and then come back 5 years later to get Oob at the end of Z? It's possible. In fact, I think I would actually like that. It doesn't really go along with the timeline, but it's still pretty cool and it's a nice idea. Gohan eliminated by Hit. I agree. I already talked about that a little bit. I don't know how far away I am from how much you guys how much I'm not looking at past comments, but I'm sure I've talked about that before. Does Oob have to happen? Can't we just forget what happened like Dragon Ball GT? No, Oob has to happen. They've already mentioned him a lot in Dragon Ball Super twice, I believe. So yeah, he has to happen. It's just he'll be better. Like there's nothing wrong with Oob, and I really think that Dragon Ball Super has made Oob a better character in that regard. So I mean, we just have to wait and see. Jiren versus Trio to Danger, Krillin versus Jocko came from Geekdom. Jigsaw versus Jason. Rose Goku versus Dispo. Ultra Instinct MJ versus Geekdom. Ultra Instinct Goku versus Beyond versus Beerus. I need Ultra Instinct to dodge these DBS spoilers. LOL. Mastered UI Goku versus Beerus came from Geekdom. I mean, someone could bring Cell back. I mean, person with knowledge and Dragon Balls could wish for Cell to come back because they don't believe that Hercule beat him, basically making Hercule put... Oh, you know what? That's actually a good idea, having Hercule, like, beat him again, because, like, why couldn't he? Because he must have gotten stronger. Interesting. But would... Yeah, it's like, the thing is like with Cell, it would have made a whole lot of sense, because like Cell would have easily come in and been like, hey, time to train, because I'm a Saiyan. I get to see how much stronger all these people can become, or at least he has part of Saiyan in him. He would have been able to train with a lot more gusto than Frieza did, and he probably would have figured out the majority of his power much quicker than Frieza did, and been able to consistently keep it in himself. So yeah, like that's true. Like that would have actually made a lot of sense. It's just Cell isn't as popular as Frieza. That's why they didn't bring back Cell, and that's why they brought in Frieza. That's really the heart and soul of it, and I can understand why. Now, I do like Cell better than Frieza, or at least I did. And now Frieza, I think, going back from what I saw when he originally was there versus how they're using him in the Tournament of Power, I really like. I'm just really not a fan of him coming in and going out of the Tournament of Power. I mean, like, be there, help out, bite the bullet, work with Goku, take out Jiren together. That will be the best scenario, in my opinion, for the Tournament of Power, honestly. Surprise 17 isn't dead, just hiding, ends up winning the whole thing. Maybe, but I doubt it. I'm not going to go into spoilers. I doubt it, but we'll have to just wait and see. Sup, man? I think it would have been cool to see Gohan go to the future with Trunks and maybe die protecting Trunks, letting Trunks go rage, and Goku meeting future Gohan, and Gohan meeting future Gohan in heaven, maybe. Possibly. That's actually possible. I'm not sure though. Anyway, guys, I've been at this for an hour. I tried to catch up and get to as much as I possibly could, but I am a little bit tired. It's been kind of a really long day for me. That was a lot of dramatic stuff and everything. I really appreciate everyone coming out. I'm sorry for the lack of energy for today. It's a little bit late, so I'm trying to keep it as quiet as possible, because there are people sleeping in my house and they don't want me just talking straight for an hour, obviously. So, guys, I love each and every single one of you. I hope everyone's had a really good day. If anyone likes that thumbnail, go check me out on Twitter. I'm going to post it up on Twitter real quick, just for anyone who's interested in having it, because I had a lot of fun making it, and I really do think it's a really cool thumbnail. So don't mind me. I hope everyone will like, comment, subscribe. Obviously, you guys are probably already subscribed. Hit that bell over by the subscriber button if you haven't already, because that will that was going to tell you every single time I upload. And at the same time, I hopefully be able to keep uploading every single day. With Dragon Ball Super ending, I'm not really sure. Plus, really, really cool stuff down the way. Guys, I cannot stress this enough. I have heard the future of my channel. I have seen what my channel will become in the next couple months, and I am so excited to bring everything to you guys. It's not going to be as frequent, I'm sure, but in the meantime, I'm going to be growing my other channels on YouTube, and I'm going to bring this stuff to you guys as much as I possibly can. New, interesting stuff, Dragon Ball related, that isn't just theories on what's going to happen or just reactionary stuff from the episode of that week. It's really going to be wholesome stuff that you don't see from the rest of the community. So I hope you guys are excited about that. Anyway, I'm going to catch y'all down the line. Hope everyone's going to have a good night. It's been real.